We are talking this week with Merv Neal. He is, I'm laughing already, a laughter ambassador and laughter yoga guru, yogi. That technically makes him a gelotologist. No, what does it? Say it for me, Merv.
Gelotologist.
I even looked that up on YouTube for pronunciation before we started. That's people who study laughter. He's a laughter expert, and I can't wait to jump into it. If you want to rediscover the power of play, go to playfulhumans.com. If you want to find Merv, it's mervneal.com. Here we go. All right, we got to wait for the woo-woos. Merv, I always like it when I nail a good intro like that. It makes me feel good about myself. Starts the podcast off. We know we're going up from here, right?
All right.
We've taken the perfectionist play off the table. So we like to start with the joke of the week. The joke of the week this week is brought to you by Happy Meals. I ate a kid's Happy Meal at McDonald's yesterday, and his mom was pretty upset that I even kept the toy. Okay. Do you know when the best time to do an impression of a motorcycle is? The best time to do an impression of a motorcycle?
When you're on one?
Now.
Okay. All right.
All right. That's pretty bad. Can you do any better?
No, probably not, but I'll give it a shot. What does William the Conqueror, Jack the Ripper, and Winnie the Pooh all have in common?
I have no idea.
Their middle name. You have 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds to get that. Otherwise, it's gone. We
got it. Yeah. That's awesome. All right. I'll start you out with an easy question here. You have studied laughter a lot. What do you think is the power of laughter and why it's important? Why have you chosen this as your field of expertise?
Yeah, Mike, thanks for having me on your program. Yeah, laughter is so powerful in many ways. And the longer I'm into it and studying it and researching it and being involved in presenting it, the more I find the power of it. And there's a really old saying, laughter is the best medicine. But why did they say that? You know, medicinally, what is it about the healing powers and the therapy of laughter that we should know that we've maybe forgotten? And so I started researching this stuff back in 2002. I got sick in 2002. I got better in 2003, mainly because of the laughter and how it helped heal my illness that the doctors said couldn't be healed. I'm going, that's pretty powerful stuff. You know, how does this actually work? So from that day onwards, I thought I'd become a therapist, and a laughter therapist is someone who works with the sick. So we've already become sick in some way. So how can you help to make us not sick? There is nothing healthy about our health system. It's all about helping people with their illness. And laughter, I suppose, why they said laughter is the best medicine. It may not be able to fix your illness, but it can help you with the side effects of your illness. And the most important or the most common side effect, Mike, that I've found is the mental aspect. So if you've just been diagnosed, as I was back in 2002, with a very serious illness, your mind goes to a really interesting place. And everyone goes, oh, keep positive, you know, the power of the mind. Yeah, that's really cool to say, but possibly the worst thing you can say to someone who's just been diagnosed maybe with a terminal illness. So that's part of my work in hospitals and hospices and with people who are actually sick as a therapist. And what's interesting, there is no formal qualification to become a laughter therapist. So, you know, this is just a term that people use for me when I'm working in hospitals. It's not one that I'm actually comfortable with because there's no formal qualifications. But then there's laughter for wellness. All right. So we don't want to get sick. It's a really good idea to be as well and as healthy as you possibly can be. So from an emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, social, self, and sexual level, I just went through the 7 energy centers of our bodies there. What are we doing on a daily basis to actually help us get up and about and be more healthy and more well? And laughter has so many wellness benefits as well, too. Emotionally, it just makes you feel good. Waking up first thing in the morning and having a laugh or even just smiling is fantastic. It helps to clear the mind. It gets the body moving because laughter is not just a noise we make from here. It's a whole of body activity. Socially, it connects us in what's been a very disconnected world for the past 2 years. I'm not going to dwell on COVID. We've had enough of that.
Yeah.
But we've been very socially disconnected and sometimes isolated and sometimes alone. And from a self perspective, self-esteem, does it make you feel good? It does actually, yeah, because if I'm laughing, I start to feel good about myself. So just running through those energy centers, Mike, it puts them all into a positive state. And what I've found is people who get sick that I end up working with as a therapist, the less well they were when they got sick, the longer they stay in that sickness space. Some people jump into hospital and bounce out again really, really quickly. And I say, what were you doing beforehand? Okay, I was really, really fit and healthy. So we can't actually avoid all illnesses, COVID as an example, but how can we actually bounce back really, really quickly? So essentially, that's the work that I do and why I do it.
I want to have two follow-up questions. I'll start with the one that I think most people are asking themselves right now, which is, it seems a little weird. I saw you start one of your workshops like this too, right? When you start awkwardly laughing in public with other people or doing laughter yoga, it seems unusual, but there is real science behind this too, that you're moving air in and out of your lungs at a rapid pace. You're changing the chemicals and endorphins that are going in your bloodstream. It's not just energy healing. It makes you feel good. Oh, it's a fun thing to try. There is actual science behind this too, and things that are happening in your body, right? Can you tell us a little bit about maybe somebody that goes, yeah, it's great, but I'm too stressed out, or I don't have time to laugh, or it's going to be weird if I try to make myself laugh, that kind of thing?
Yeah, to your first point, it's a little weird. That's incorrect. It's very weird. All right, we on the weird meter, we are right over here. We are right off the scale. So the very first thing,
love that.
So the very first thing I say to people, Mike, is this is weird. It is really, really weird. How I got into it was weird. The experience I had when it was healing my illness over 8 months was weird. Every time I go and do a workshop, but it's really, really weird. So can we start at weird? All right, let's acknowledge that it's weird. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to get our mind, and we're going to get out of our mind for a little while, because our mind is so powerful in controlling a whole lot of stuff. For example, it might say, this is so weird, I'm not going to do it. All right, well, can we get rid of that mind? Can we get rid of that thought? So, Mike, just put your hands on your head. And we've already acknowledged that you and I both go to the same hairdresser. And
if you're not watching the YouTube or video version, Merv and I are definitely similar in style here.
Which is no hair. And grab your mind and just put it out to the side. Put it out to the side. Get rid of it. Just for my workshop, that, if you're involved, just get out of your mind and just see what happens, because we're going to get into our bodies. And what's interesting, Mike, I work with a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists and other therapists and counselors, and they try to manage the mind through the mind. And they go, gee, it's difficult. Whereas if you go and try and manage your mind through your body, it becomes so much easier. But to do that, you've got to get out of your mind. So that's where we start. And then I start the workshop and I say to them, in the next half an hour, we're going to go from weird to wonderful to wow. All right. So that's our progress that we're going to do. So let's all start at the weird level, but get out of our mind and forget about that and see if we can get to the wonderful. And what happens to the wonderful, Mike, is when we start to do the laughter exercises, something happens inside of us, and it's the chemicals get released. So the body sends a message to the brain saying, I'm having a good time, brain. Why don't you join in? Not the mind, the brain, because the brain controls all the chemicals that get released. And about 5, 10, 15 minutes into the laughter session or workshop, all of a sudden the chemicals start to get released. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, melatonin, and they start to have an impact on our body, our mind, and our physiology. All right, so going back to why do they say laughter is the best medicine? It has an instant impact on all of those things. And if people start to say, I'm actually feeling quite wonderful at the moment. Something has changed within my body, mind, or physiology that's making me feel great. And at that stage, they go, oh, to heck with it. Let's go with this weird guy. Let's go with the weird bald guy. Let's just keep going and see what happens, because I then have them in my control. And we just keep going with the laughter exercises. And the laughter exercises get a little bit weirder, a little bit more intense, or back to your podcast, more playful. So if I hit them with the playful exercises from the get-go, from the first one, I'll lose them. I'll lose them. So I sort of ease them into it. But about halfway through, we get really, really playful. And by this time, the layers are off and they're exposed and they're going, now I'm having a good time. So I feel good and now I'm having a good time. And that combination over the next 15 minutes with a little grounding exercise at the end has them opening their eyes and going, wow. So that's my work. Take them from weird to wonderful to wow. Do I have some people come in and go, you're not going to do this to me, it's not going to work? Yes, I do. And guess what? It doesn't work because their mind is still saying, no, I'm not going to play this game for whatever reason. Maybe they're too important. Maybe they have some issues that they're dealing with. Maybe they don't want to play. Maybe they're beyond playing. You know, not everybody wants to play and
well, I wanted to ask you one more about that with particularly for businesses, because I also love in your story that you were a successful business person. You did the thing that everybody else is doing right now, burning themselves out, working really hard, trying to make millions of dollars. And you did all that. So it's not like you came from this, I've been a hippie living on the beach in Melbourne, Australia, you know, like getting energy healing your whole life. Like you have been on both sides. And so it's not that you're coming at this from a place of really wanting people to be weird. It's that this is what happens to actually work, right?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I highly recommend everyone has a near-death experience. No, maybe not. Maybe just refer to mine or somebody else's. But it's a game changer. It's a game changer. It's a real wake-up that call. Okay, what I actually worked myself to be that sick. I did that, and a fairly intelligent, successful businessman did that. What was I thinking? And the answer was I wasn't. I was working. You know, I was just working and driving towards KPIs and outcomes and outputs and business success and money that I didn't need because I had enough. And I'm going, this is crazy stuff. But I tell you what, Mike, when you get on that treadmill, it's really, really hard to get off, you know, and this is what's happening with the treadmill. And we've just had 2.5 years of chaos within the world, which has given us a new treadmill. All we've done is gone to a new treadmill. That's all we've gone. Get off the treadmill, people, you know, reassess, first of all, number one, your health, and then your wealth, which is your health and your social connection. So with Laughter Yoga Australia, who I head up here in Melbourne, Australia, we talk about we're your laugh line for mental wealth. And mental wealth is your mental health, your well-being, along with your social connection, because when you laugh, you get really, really socially connected to other people.
I've heard a ton of stats, like kids laugh something like 10 or 40 times more than adults and stuff. But I also want to kind of go back to that business ROI, that happy employees actually perform more and make more money too. So you would think that, like, I don't know how this hustle culture and stuff has survived. I think it works maybe just well enough for people to keep doing it for a time period. But it turns out that human beings are really good at repeating things that are easy, fun, and satisfying for them. And when you do really difficult, hard things that are not fun and difficult, your body starts rejecting it and your mind starts making up excuses, and you want to repel from that. So to me, this stuff isn't very hard to figure out, but could you talk maybe some about the business benefits or other, benefits besides the physical that we've already mentioned in enjoying a more laughter and play in your life?
Yeah, sure. So one of the good things about being my age, and for those who can't see me, I'm older than Mike quite considerably. Been around.
The good thing about the bald head, though, and shaved face is there's no gray hair. We can pretty much look like this for the next 10 years.
And I'll give away a secret. I've been involved in owning and operating my businesses for 52 years now. So that gives me a little bit of credibility. So I'm still a business person. I still label myself as a business person. It's just that my business is laughter. That's all it is, so it's in my blood. It's been in my blood since the age of 12. I just love business. And in that 52 years, oh my goodness, I've seen so many changes from where you use people as a robot, and I'll stop beating you when morale improves. This sort of mentality, which we got away with back in the 70s. We got away with that because guess what? That's the way the world was. But then we transitioned, and just as we went personally through the hippie stage and the love stage back in the 60s and then the 70s, then the 80s, then the 90s. We did exactly the same thing in business for those who were standing back and watching. The turn of the century was a significant milestone. There was a major recession back in the early 90s. The turn of the century, the coming down of the Twin Towers, the financial collapse, the world financial crisis, all of these events, and now COVID has redefined business. So it's been really interesting, having been in business that long. I've got a little bit of credibility about talking about business over the ages, and then I share with them where I believe business is at the moment. And I come up with these ideas, not in isolation in my office here in Melbourne, but getting out and talking to other people, and especially business leaders of today, and saying, what does the new business leader look like? Because the new business leader will drive the new business model. Now, we pretty much accept that the new business model is hybrid. All right. It's going to be at home. It's going to be in the office. It's going to be lying on a beach in California. Well, it's going to be all of these things. So what does the new leadership model look like? And people have reassessed. Well, and the one thing that they've reassessed after COVID, or certainly being in Melbourne here, we're the longest lockdown city in the world, 200 and something days, where we're actually treated like prisoners in solitary confinement. They even use the word lockdown. I've done work in prisons, and that's exactly the experience that we went through. And people have come out of that and they're reassessing everything, their personal lives, hopefully their health, for goodness sake, please, number one, your health, but their personal lives, but then their business lives, and say, well, what's the new business world going to look like for me? And it's different for me compared to Mike, compared to Mary, compared to Molly. It's different for all of us. So what's the new leadership model look like? And this is what I've been told. It's a heart-centered leader. It's a heart-centered leader who worked from their heart and their head, not from their head and their heart, or purely from their head. I'm going, that's fascinating. Now, can the old leaders of business like myself make that transition? If they can, guess what? They're still in a job. If they're not, get out of the way and let the next generation who do get that concept come forward and manage the people moving forward. Here's my point. The number one thing that's been a constant over 52 years is morale. If morale is down or low, the people don't turn up. My number one KPI for is, if morale is low, is sick leave. How many people are allegedly sick who maybe aren't sick, who aren't turning up? Then you've got a term which was coined by a business consultant or a coach or something like that, called presenteeism. So we're turning up, but we're just not doing anything. Our body has come to work, but our mind is somewhere else. So with the laughter, are they going to come to work and have fun? Well, yeah, I put on the laughometer when I walk into businesses now that we're back in person, and I listen for the laughter. Are people having fun in your business? Well, guess what, Mike? If they're at home because they decide to have a sick day, no, they're not, because they're actually indicating to you that they're not. But how can we have fun in business yet still get productivity outcomes? And all of a sudden, that concept that if you're having fun, you work better is coming to fruition. It's actually being made to be true. And the research studies that I've done have actually proven that. And we've got another one starting next month where we're going to measure morale, attitude, performance, purpose, relationship, support, all of these things which are really, really important to having a whole, well-rounded human being that then does stuff for us. And if you're feeling good and if you've got a clear mind, you know, productivity is up. I have my best days when I'm feeling good. Everybody does. But I think business, and especially the new business leaders, are waking up to this, and they're going, how can I help you, be a better person and a better person with us, and then add some fun and some play. And they go, oh, why would I work anywhere else?
I love that. The two words that jumped out for me were the heart, and you talked about being a human, and obviously Playful Humans is about that, because we have robots and we have computers now, so we don't need, like you said, 50 years ago we needed humans to be robots. We needed them to repeat tasks over and over again, and we don't need that anymore. We need people to bring heart, to bring connection and their humanity to work, because we can't program robots and computers to do that. So I think that's where the value is, and I'd love to highlight that. The other thing is just that that ROI, that when people break down, when they're tired, they're exhausted, they're burnout, they're not performing. Your company's getting worse. And so how can we make them healthier and happier to be performing better the next day is huge. I wanted to ask you more about your personal life and journey. What makes you laugh? What's play for you? What's the most fun you've ever had? Something.
Yeah, good point. The most fun I have is every day because I get to meet people like you and talk about my passion. So when I talk about my passion, not obsession, that was my other business life where I was obsessed with money that I didn't need. But when you work with your passion, you just wake up and you have a good day every day. So that's fun. That's fun. And getting back to the laughter, one of the constants when we're having fun is we're laughing. So therefore, if we laugh, could we have fun? That's the circular concept of the work that I do. So even if you're not having fun, let's start the laughter because the laughter will lead to fun and then the fun leads to laughter. So, but it's a matter of breaking through that barrier. If there's a barrier there that says, no, I'm not having fun, so therefore, how can I possibly laugh? I've just been diagnosed with a serious illness. How can I possibly laugh? I'm experiencing high levels of anxiety. All of these things that I call excuses, because once we break that mind to body connection that says, I can't do this because, and we start to laugh, everyone starts to feel good. So it's about breaking through that barrier.
Is there anything on your fun bucket list still, or anything like what would be the most fun for you?
Grandkids.
Any dreams?
Grandkids. I don't have dreams. I have visions and plans. That's because I'm a business person. I wrote a little article just recently saying a dream is a vision without a plan, So have your vision about who you want to be and what you want to do, and then make sure you've got a plan to support it. And then, by the way, make sure you work hard at it. Everyone sort of believes that everything comes with no effort. It still requires effort to make the good things happen. And what's on my bucket list, I have a daily bucket list, and it's what I have to do today, and it's grandchildren. So I have 6 small human beings who are being looked after by my kids and their partners who've had a pretty rough 2.5 years. Really rough 2.5 years. We can't actually say that any of us have not been impacted in some way by this common experience that the world has gone through. This is the first worldwide event that it's affected us socially, economically, and from a health perspective, and it's not over yet. So every day I ask myself, how can I get connected to my grandchildren, and what can I do to be a better grandfather than maybe I was a father to my children? So that's my mission at a personal level. And then we've got the laughter business side. But the grandchildren provide you with so much laughter and so much play. This is a play podcast. If you want to be playful, just go out and watch children. They'll teach you how to be playful. They just have fun where there is no fun, provided you get everything out of the way for them.
Yeah, I'm right with you on that. All right, I had one more serious question for you, and then we'll play some games and wrap up, and maybe try some laughter yoga exercises here too. So I saw the Laughter Quotient on your website, and that got me really interested in there's obviously not a perfect laugh, right? But you put some structure to it and some science and rigor to it that there probably is some that give you better benefits or release those endorphins and good happy hormones more than others. Tell us about what the Laughter Quotient is and how we should be thinking about our laughs.
Yeah, I had too much time on my hands, clearly, when I come up with the Laughter Quotient. But the reason behind it was, how can I appeal to people that this doesn't appeal to? All right. How can I actually get to the science? And if people are viewing this on video, they'll see our Laughter Yoga Australia logo there. Otherwise, you can see it on the Laughter Yoga Australia website. It's the body, mind, spirit, but those little dots is the science. What's the science behind it? And then those little lines behind the ellipses is the genomics. So we're combining the body, mind, spirit philosophy with the science, with the genomics about how it actually plays with it. What was the question again? It was a serious question.
Yeah, I mean, just explaining that the science in there, because there's like formulas involved, and this is the length of the laugh versus what the force of it. What's going on here? Help me out.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I got sidetracked. I often do that. The laughter quotient had to appeal to people who it didn't appeal to, and this is our scientists, our engineers, our doctors, our health professionals, researchers, all these sorts of people. And I'm going, well, let's analyze a laugh. Now, you said there's no perfect laugh. There is a perfect laugh for each and every one of us, which is different. All right. So the first thing you need to accept is your laugh is your laugh. It's like your DNA. It's like your fingerprint. It is absolutely unique to you. And I could close my eyes in a room of 100 people that I know and get one of them to laugh. And I'll go, that's Mike. That's Mike's laugh. I know Mike's laugh and I connect to it. Totally different to mine, but I can connect to it. And it has 4 elements to it. So the laughter quotient, it's on my website, is the length of the laugh. So when you're laughing, do you go, ha ha? Or do you go, ha 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 ha? Now, that's important because that's the exhalation process. That's getting rid of the toxins from our body and enabling us then to bring in some oxygen. So if you want more oxygen into your body, first of all, you've got to exhale for extended periods of time. Anyone who's into meditation will know exactly what I'm talking about because meditation is an exhalation process. Therefore, laughter is an exhalation process identical to meditation, which is why it calms us. Length times a repetition. So how long do I have to do this for? If I do one laugh for 5 seconds, do I get all of those benefits? No, probably not. Probably not. Maybe you have to do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. In a full laughter session, and we have them online free of charge. Once again, I'm sure Michael put a link to our website on that. If you go for 30 minutes, the impact is amazing. It's like a full gym workout. You can't go to the gym and do a squat and say, I've done my workout. No, it's got to be a series of exercises over an extended period of time. So that's the 30-minute element. Length times repetition divided by volume times pitch. So the volume is how loud is your laughter. Now, I never said a loud laugh is good, but I'm just saying how loud is your laughter, because the pitch, the decibel level of your laughter, the loudness is determined by the amount of air traveling past your larynx through your voice box, and then the pitch. All right, so the pitch is the distance the voice box is from the exit of the mouth. Ladies have a high Adam's apple, we call it, or a voice box. So it's a bit of a males are a bit of a ha ha ha. The best one is a ho 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 ho.
Because that Santa laugh is the best one.
Yeah, very relevant. Yeah. So people
love Santa's hose.
So people with anxiety might have a high pitch because there's lots of tension in and around their neck. So we need to release that tension and get the laughter coming from the diaphragm. So here's my point. When I go and say I have a mathematical equation, E equals MC squared, a lot of people's ears prick up and go, tell us more. If I just go and say, laugh and be playful, a lot of people will run out of the room. So it was created to appease those 2 different markets, and it's working really, really well. Having that information, I can then analyze it with people. So we do some laughs with them. We record it on their mobile device. We can actually play back an audio. We can see the sine waves going up and down on the frequency levels. So we have a visual, we have an audio of it, and then we measure it against the L times R divided by V times P. And I say, on that basis, why don't you, Mike, can you just make that a little bit louder? Now, where I got this concept from is my daughter is right into classical music and she conducts orchestras from time to time. And she'll say to the violins, a little bit higher, brass, a little bit lower, a little bit sharp. There it is. So imagine that your whole body is a musical instrument. And we're just tuning it up with the laughter quotient. And all of a sudden, the people hear this laughter coming from within them. And they go, oh, my God, isn't that beautiful? I'm going, yeah, that's you. That's you. You've hit the note. Now let's keep playing the notes. People who are sick or mentally ill or something like that can't play the instrument. So this is merely a tool to help them play the instrument. That's all the laughter quotient is.
I love it. And I think you're forcing me into overtime here because I have several follow-up questions. So we'll try and hit these quick. But is there like a difference then between and the benefits of like a laugh, a belly laugh, or a giggle? And when you talked about those instruments, it made me think of like, do you run into people that hate their laugh? Do you work with them, or like people that laugh on the ends instead of the outs, like the Eddie Murphy or the British guy what's his name that do the do you actually do coaching with people like that?
Oh, you bet. Often people will say, I hate my laugh. So one of the things we may or may not get to is the laughy that we're doing at the moment, where you record yourself laughing for 1 minute, and people look and see themselves laughing and they go, I don't like that. I'll go, what is it you don't like about you and your laughter? And it's back to the mind. Like, there is something in their mind that is judging. Now, we judge ourselves all the time. We've been on Zoom, so all of a sudden we've got this other person on Zoom that we haven't seen before. It's us. And we've been very, very judgmental, to the point where people would turn off their cameras and disconnect because they don't
There's an uptick in plastic surgeries and corrective dental procedures and stuff just from Zoom over the last 3 years. That's crazy.
And clearly I haven't engaged in either of those. But so we're really, really good at self-judgment, and often in a very negative way. So I come across those people all the time, until I just say, just find your authentic laughter and just play it. To hell with everybody else, including your mind. Just laugh. And when they do, something changes from within, and they go from that judgmental to wonderful to wow, and it works.
All right. I love it. So should we do it and demonstrate? We wouldn't ask somebody else to do something that we wouldn't do ourselves, right? Can you help us out? So I got my camera open. I'm just going to go for the selfie. So the selfie is a real thing. Once again, on Facebook, the Laughy challenge we've got going. You'll hear more about it because it's being embraced by cool. University. Yeah, we'll put the links and everything in there too.
Yeah, so for everybody that can see us, great. For everybody who can't, grab your mobile phone, turn the camera on, turn it on to video, and turn it on to you. So you should have this amazing looking person looking back at you. And then what you do is you smile. So it starts with a smile. Now, the whole exercise to go for a minute, we're only going to go for 30 seconds because I think we're running out of time here. So get ready. So smile and breathe in. And hit the video button now and go for 30 seconds and just laugh. And great. Stop. So we usually go for a minute. Mike, how did you find that personally yourself?
Good. I love that moment, in there where you stop faking the laughing and you can't tell whether you're really laughing or faking it. I think that's great.
Yeah, if anyone wants to
even go in back, that time could feel the energy change.
If anyone wants to go back and review that, you'll see about halfway through that time that Mike is talking about. I observed it, I heard it. I'm going, there it is, Mike. Keep going. Come on, let's go for this. So it's awkward at first, but then with your laughy, play it back morning, afternoon, and night. All right. So go back and laugh with your very best friend, which is you. Don't analyze it, just laugh with you. That's the whole laughy concept with Bolton University, Professor Jerome Carson, and a health psychologist, Frida Gnot-Shapinski from Monaco. We're hopeful of getting this into the NHS as social prescription. All right. Where people, health professionals will actually prescribe 1 minute laughing first thing in the morning and then laughing back just 3 more minutes per day. It is a game changer. We've already done part of the research study. It's a game changer.
So cool. I'm feeling better about it already. And my cheeks are starting to hurt from this podcast. So we better wrap it up. But before we leave, do you want to try a Playful Humans game?
Oh, look, I'm open to anything, as you know.
All right, awesome. So we're spinning our wheel of games. There are 10 games that it could land on, and you got awkward questions. Awkward questions has been popular. It's been coming up on the wheel here a lot. So these are kind of would you rather style questions, like would you go skydiving if a friend offered to pay for it?
Absolutely not. I was in the military. I was in the Air Force. You do not jump out of a plane where the motors are going. You don't do it. No.
Not a perfectly good airplane. No. All right. Where would you rather live, in a gas station restroom or inside a mine shaft?
Oh, neither, because I'm very claustrophobic. However, one of my businesses was a gas station, so I spent a lot of time in gas stations. So I would be more comfortable in that than a mine shaft.
I feel like at least people would be coming in and out. Yeah, we've kind of lived in the mine shaft the last 3 years.
A little bit social.
Going for it. All right, now here's a fun one to end on. You save a witch from a drowning vat of butter. I don't know what the witch was doing in butter, but she offers you a choice of rewards. Do you want a book of usable spells or her flying broom?
Oh my goodness. Well, once again, I'm afraid of flying. So her usable spells. The older I get, Mike, the more curious I become. So I would be curious about what those spells could do. So I'd go for that one.
Definitely depends on what the spells do.
Yeah, true.
For sure. Flying is great, but there are other modes of transportation. I'm going to agree with you on that one too. So you win. You answered all three. So the podcast is yours. Any asks, how can we help you? Or any gives, how can you help us? What do you think?
Oh, look, just go to the Laughter Yoga Australia website, laughteryogaaustralia.org. mervneal.com. Just have a look at what we're doing. And if you buy into it, great. If you don't, that's cool. But guess what? You may have a friend that needs to buy into what we're doing at the moment. And it's just an exciting time to be in the type of business that we're in. And I hang out with a whole lot of other weird people doing a whole lot of other weird stuff, which is just right for the time. So if anybody wants to send me an email, I'm usually pretty good at getting back in touch with them. Like I said, I do a weekly free online laughter session. This was our give back from Laughter Yoga Australia to make sure that everyone's laughing. Buy in on the Laughy Challenge. Challenge yourself, just laugh for 1 minute every day. And then you send it off to a friend and invite them to laugh. We're just changing the energy and the vibration in the world with what we do. That's what energy and vibration does. And the world's got some negative stuff going on at the moment. So let's balance it out. And we can do that. Each and every person can do that.
I love that. Merv Neal, again, he is a laughter expert and laughter yogi. Go find him at mervneal.com. Links are below wherever you are checking this out. And if you are an adult who needs to rediscover the power of play in your life, go to playfulhumans.com. You can take a playfulness quiz, maybe see how burnt out you are. Are you like medium rare? Are you well done? You can find out your type of play that you enjoy. You like to go out and explore? Do you like puzzles and games? Do you like social events or physical activity? All of that at playfulhumans.com.
For tomorrow, live for today. Keep on chasing the sunshine and go out and play.
Go play, everybody.